these rectangular non-opening windows, you will direct screw your solar screens onto the window framing that goes around the window. So in this case, we're going to direct screw onto this framing right here. And when you do so, you're going to use 4 of the 3/4 inch screws that come with your solar screen. This is what they look like. Okay, so there's your 4 3/4 inch screws. Now, what I'll do, and this is just how I put them on, is I'll put a center screw up here, then I'll go down on the bottom and put a center one on there, and then I put one on here and here. And what that does is, what you'll do is you'll put this top one on first, which is how I do it, and then you go down to the bottom and you put that bottom one on, then you'll put this side one on, and then you'll grab the screen and you'll pull the screen. Okay, so you'll pull it, and then once you get it pulled, then you'll put that screw in, and that keeps the fabric nice and tight. And you're going to do the same thing for that guy up there. So you can put, say, that screw on there, and then that screw on over there, and then this, because it's the long part, okay, you'll put your screw in there, and you'll come down here and you'll pull the screen nice and tight, and then you'll put that screw on, and that'll keep the fabric nice and tight. Now you got to be careful when you measure for these kind of windows, because you have this little piece of wood, this wood lip here, this wood lip over here, and you never want to exceed that, because then it won't fit flat onto the framing around the window. So what you'll do is you'll get a measurement from up top up here, one in the center and one at the bottom, and say it's 10 inches in one area, 10 1/4 in another, maybe 10 1/8 up here. That means you can only make your screen 10 inches, okay, because it needs to fit in between that wood. It's really important. You'll see here how there's a little bit of a space right there, okay. And it's really common for these kind of windows because they put the wood on for them to caulk it in or something along those lines. So it's very common for this part here to be a different measurement than that part at the bottom. So it's important that you get all of those measurements. See how we fit these screens onto this window? These are just your rectangular shaped solar screens, and they fit into this molding here. Okay, so they fit on top of, there's like a 3/4 by 3/4 inch piece of aluminum there, and it screws into it. Now these guys here, what I do is I make sure these weep holes are never covered. See that weep hole right there? It's really important. Now the top up there, you're going to have a little, let me see if I can zoom in. It's a little piece of metal up there that kind of looks like it's a top track. Don't be fooled, it's not a top track. So it's always a good idea to take a piece of framing, solar screen framing, and stick it up in that track and see if it fits up into that track. And if it doesn't, then make sure you measure to the bottom of the track, okay? So the bottom of it, so that your screen fits. And then you can do like what we did here, and you just screw it on. See, there's a screw there, and then we put one in the middle, and then we went up top and put another one up there. The same over here, and one in the middle, and one in the bottom. And then we kind of slightly bowed the screen inward so that the screen is bowed inward, so that it fits up against the... Here's a glass block window. This is going to take a rectangular solar screen, and you're just going to direct screw it. See how here I've already started these screws? I did this to give you an idea of how I do it. Okay, so your screen is going to come with 4 screws. I'll put one here, one here, one here, and one here. So I go 4 inches down, 4 inches up, 4 inches up, 4 inches down. Your screen comes with 4 screws, okay? So you don't want to, on this big monster window, put one center, 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 because a wind could possibly get underneath and pull those corners out, which is why I put them on the corners. So if I put my 4 inches down, so if I put my screws 4 inches down, it's going to keep the wind from getting in there and possibly ever pulling those things out. Now you got to be careful when you measure these rascals, okay, because this window you have a fixed area to work with. You cannot exceed this area right here, okay? So you can't go too far over. And you don't want to get over here because you're going to get into the glass. So you want to go as far as you possibly can, but you got to be careful. So if you measure, say you measure this distance here, and down here in the bottom it measures 47 1/4, but yet up here you're going to measure 47 3/8, then you want to make sure that you use your 47 1/4 measurement. Now, so you'll go, these windows are pretty straightforward because it's brick, but sometimes you'll get stone, and that stone will do like this, okay, because of the mortar. So you got to pay attention to where your narrow spots are, and that's what you have to work with. And again, just don't try to screw in like right here. Try to screw in as far over as you possibly can, way over here. I actually measured this one 47 1/4. Now for the height of this, I measured it 47 1/4 as well, and there's no need to try to make this thing fit too tight. Now, something important about all windows that have weep holes is just be smart about it and don't cover up those weep holes. So my screen will fit to right about there, and it's going to leave room for that weep hole there. Weep hole there is for a reason. When water gets in the edges here, it needs a place to weep out. You don't want to cover up that weep hole so the water builds up inside of the screen. Okay, that weep hole is there so when the water gets into the sides of the frame, okay, it has a place to weep out. This window here, they put silicone on it, so I don't suspect too much water's going to get in there, but it can. Like I just felt right there in that little groove, I can see how some water can get in there. Point being, just don't cover up those weep holes. If they're there, just don't cover them up.